The morning began with frost. Cold crept through the cracks in the servant quarters, biting at Arwen's skin as she woke, her breath fogged in the air, her body aching from the straw mat she slept on. A bruise darkened her ribs. Another blossomed on her shoulder. Purple, yellow, fading into sickly green. She didn't remember when they appeared anymore. Pain had become as constant as breathing. The bell rang from the main hall. Breakfast for the Alpha family. She had 10 minutes to prepare the Luna's table, and not a heartbeat more. Arwen wrapped a torn shawl around her thin shoulders, wincing as the fabric brushed against healing cuts on her back. Each one was a memory, a punishment for mistakes she could barely recall. Dropping a tray, speaking when not spoken to. Looking at the Alpha too long, the Luna always made sure she remembered why she suffered. In the dining hall, the light was soft and golden, filtering through tall windows. It should have been beautiful, but beauty was never meant for her. Luna Evelyn sat at the head of the table, her golden hair perfectly coiled, her gown shimmering like sunlight. Across from her sat Rowan, her son, handsome, smirking, his sharp blue eyes glinting with mischief. At the end of the table, the Alpha Kieran Voss read reports in silence. He didn't look up when Arwen entered. He never did. "You're late," Eveline said flatly, not glancing at her. I apologize, Luna," Arwen whispered, setting down the tray. Rowan leaned back in his chair, eyes trailing over her with the lazy cruelty of someone who enjoyed watching others flinch. "Careful, mother," he drawled. "The mongrel might breathe on your food. Wouldn't want her curse to spread." The Luna chuckled softly, sipping her tea. "Indeed. Perhaps we should have her wear a muzzle next time." Arwen froze, hands trembling, eyes fixed on the silverware. She didn't speak. She couldn't. Rowan's foot shot out suddenly, striking her shin beneath the table. She gasped, not loud enough to draw attention, but enough for him to grin. "Oops," he murmured, feigning innocence. "Didn't see you there." Her leg throbbed with pain, but she forced herself to stand straight, to serve, to endure. She had learned long ago that tears only made them smile. When she finished her tasks, Eveline spoke again, her tone sweet, almost musical. "Arwen, dear," she said, "the floors in the East Wing need scrubbing." "On your knees, of course." "And no breaks this time. We wouldn't want the filth of your kind to linger." "Yes," Luna, Arwen replied softly, but as she turned, the Luna added, "And when you're done, bring me the switch. The servants say you've been seen talking to the stable boy." "We can't have you thinking yourself worthy of attention, can we?" The words froze her blood. The stable boy Mikkel had simply offered her bread 2 nights ago, pity in his eyes. That single kindness was about to cost her more than he'd ever know. The punishment came at dusk. She knelt on the cold floor of the garden veranda, the scent of rain heavy in the air. Eveline stood before her, holding a long willow switch, thin, flexible, and cruel. "Count," she said simply. The first strike split across her back, tearing through fabric and skin alike. "1," Arwen whispered, her voice steady despite the tremor in her limbs. The second came sharper, then the third, then the fourth. By the 10th, her body shook with silent sobs. By the 15th, her blood painted the marble floor in thin, glistening trails. Rowan watched from the doorway, arms crossed, a cruel smirk on his lips. "Still not crying?" he taunted. "Maybe she likes it." Eveline struck harder. Arwen's vision blurred, the world spinning in red and white flashes of pain. When the final lash came, she didn't count. She only whispered, "Mother, forgive me." Though she wasn't sure if she meant Lysette or the goddess herself, the Luna dropped the switch. Satisfied? Clean it up, she said coldly, and turned away. Later that night, Arwen lay on her stomach in her small room, the candlelight flickering weakly. Her shirt clung to her wounds, soaked in blood. She didn't have medicine, only a torn strip of linen and cold water. Each movement burned, but she forced herself to breathe through it. She traced her scars, a map of every sin the world said she carried. Her back was a tapestry of old wounds, thin white lines, jagged slashes, deep bruises fading into violet shadows. Her ribs protruded like fragile branches. Her skin bore the story of every cruel word, every strike, every silence. Outside, the wolves howled beneath the moon, the sound raw and mournful. Her heart ached to join them, but she knew she wasn't one of them. Not yet. Maybe not ever. A few days later, Rowan cornered her in the corridor. The torches burned low, shadows crawling across the walls. He pinned her against the stone, one hand gripping her arm too tightly. You should thank me. You know, he whispered, breath hot against her ear. I'm the only one who notices you. Her pulse raced, fear cold and sharp. Please, Rowan, let me go, she breathed. He laughed. Why? So you can run to my father? He won't save you. He never does. And he was right. When she finally escaped, bruised, trembling, clutching her torn sleeve, she stumbled into the Alpha's study. Kieran Voss looked up briefly from his papers, eyes weary but empty. What is it? He asked. Arwen opened her mouth to speak, to beg, to tell the truth, but the words died on her tongue. Because his gaze told her everything she needed to know. He didn't want to hear her. He didn't want to see her. She was nothing more than a reminder of his sin. Nothing. Alpha, she whispered, backing away. He nodded once, already returning to his work. That night, as the moon rose full and pale, Arwen stood at the edge of the forest, behind the pack house. Blood still crusted along her back. Her arms ached. Her body trembled with exhaustion. But worse than the pain was the emptiness. The unbearable silence of being unwanted. She fell to her knees, staring at the moon through the trees. Why was I born? She whispered. Why did you let me live? The wind stirred, cold and cruel. No answer came. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. Something inside her, something buried deep and furious, snapped. Her scream tore through the night as bones broke, skin split, and blood soaked the earth. Her scars glowed faintly crimson beneath the moonlight, pulsing with otherworldly fire. And when her body finally fell still, the forest trembled with the first echo of her howl. It was the sound of rage, of rebirth, of the forsaken child claiming her curse.